Hello and welcome to another video. In this video I am going to talk about the Tudors as in the TV series and the real life Tudors. Now basically the Tudors as in the TV series actually lied, because for example Series 1 Episode 1 shows that Henry VIII's uncle was murdered. However, in reality, that never happened. That's of course a thing made up just for the TV series. Also, right, it showed, right, that the actor Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, who of course played Henry VIII, was of course 13 years younger than the actress who played Catherine of Aragon, Henry's first wife. However, in reality, right, Catherine of Aragon was actually 6 years older than Henry VIII. So, yeah. Also, right, it shows, right, that Anne Boleyn, Henry VIII's second wife, was not around whilst Henry was married to Catherine of Aragon. However, in reality, Anne Boleyn was actually Catherine of Aragon's lady-in-waiting. So that's another thing that they've actually managed to lie about. Okay, also, right, let me think what else there is. Oh yeah, and also, right, in Series 3, I think it is, right, during the, basically when it shows the bits with the dissolution of the monasteries, right, it shows that Robert Aske, right, is basically an old man. Now basically, okay, now in reality, right, Robert Aske was actually in his 30s when the real thing happened. Okay, now another thing, right, in Series 4, in the Tudors, it showed that Margaret Pole was arrested alongside her family. And this was, of course, when Henry VIII met... No, this was, of course, before Henry VIII met Anne of Cleves. However, in reality, it was just Margaret Pole who was arrested. And it was actually, right, when Catherine Howard was the Queen Consort. So that's another thing, that's another difference between the TV series The Tudors and of course the real life Tudors. Yeah, what else is that? I've just missed out. Oh yeah, and also, right, now in terms of the whole Anne Boleyn thing, yeah, when, she's accused of, like, sleeping with other men and whatever that's called, right? Now basically, right, however, okay, so basically the accused men in the Tudors was of course George Boleyn, her brother, William Brereton, Mark Smeaton, and who's of course her music teacher, Henry Norris, and that's about it really. However, in reality, right, there's of course all those men I've just mentioned. However, there's also a man called Sir Francis Weston. However, he was of course omitted from the Tudors. Don't know why, but he was. I'm guessing made a big, more of a storyline. But yeah. Okay, now also, right, now in the Tudors, right, it showed that the Duke of Norfolk had of course a distant relationship with Catherine Howard in the Tudors. However, in reality, right, the Duke of Norfolk was actually Catherine Howard's uncle. So that's another thing that they actually managed to fuck up. Now, also, right, apparently Henry's third wife, Jane Seymour, who of course appears in Series 3, right, now, it shows that Jane Seymour was not present at the castle, However, in reality, she was actually Queen Anne Boleyn's lady in waiting. So yeah. Okay, now another thing, right? Now it shows, right, that Thomas Culpeper. Yeah, hang on, just okay. Yeah, it basically shows that Thomas Culpeper, right, doesn't appear until series 4. In fact, in reality, right, Thomas Culpeper was actually the king's groom since he was married to Catherine of Aragon. So that's another thing they actually fucked up. Now, also, right, yeah, also, right, now, now in terms of the execution of Catherine Howard, right, now it first showed that Lady Rochford, or should I say Jane Boleyn, was beheaded first, and then Catherine Howard. However, in reality, it was the other way around. So yeah. Okay, now what else is there? Okay, now it also showed, right. It also showed that Henry's eldest daughter, Mary, who of course later became Queen Mary the First, right? It showed that she hated Catherine Parr, Henry VIII's last wife. However, in reality, right, Mary, or should I say Princess Mary, as she was back then, and Queen Catherine Parr, in real life, had a good relationship with each other. So yeah, anyway, that's all I can think of so far. I'm going to go now and like, subscribe and peace. Oh, by the way, sorry for stammering.